back at it another week. A few days off for the guys, worked out last night, had a good practice, a little more than what would be a normal Sunday. Day off today, and then back at it with obviously South Alabama, an athletic group. It's interesting. You have to really tune into playing a team like this that has skilled kids. They've got some wideouts that can make plays, and I know they have a new coaching staff. Defense runs around a little bit. Linebackers real active, so on and so forth. So we need to continue to get better this week, and quality reps is really important for our team. So we'll work really hard this week and try to come out and play the best we can on Saturday.
Mike, you played Coach Campbell before. They came over here with their Central Arkansas team, and he did a pretty good job building that program. And then you got Dantrell Savage, I think, from him when he was the head coach at Mississippi Gulf Coast. So you have a catalog, a little bit about Steve Campbell?
He's done very well, in his career, and this is a great opportunity for him. In the location he is, there's a number of really good players that are within a 4-hour drive of their campus. So he's done well, and I'm sure he's still working hard to get things together. It's not always easy when you get into a new place, and I know that I've been told that he's finally got away from being the offensive coordinator, and he's turned that over. So just from an outsider looking in, it looks like he's going through some adjustments, but he's done very well during his time.
You talked about the offensive line and sort of average and a little bit better across the board. Was there anybody in particular that really stood out that you felt played really well?
Oh, I don't know if any of them played great. There were times they played really good as a group, and then there were times they turned people loose. 4 or 5 times we turned some guys loose. A couple times on a turn protection, which is a very basic protection. And so with the skill we have at the running back position, it's important that we cover guys up. And I think we'll get a little bit better each week at it. I had mentioned that when you have some new guys working together, that I felt like October 1 was a good mark for us to say these guys are really starting to play better. So like some of the other positions, hopefully they'll minimize those missed assignments in Saturday's game.
You moved a lot of guys around at guard, especially there. Are you still looking for the right blend, or are you just want to get
just guys playing? We feel like that we have more than 2 guards that can play. We talked about this a week ago, that we think it's an advantage to keep guys fresh, and we've not ever had that luxury. And hopefully we can keep those 7 guys rotating in as we move forward and try to keep some of those guys fresh.
Does that make it more difficult to communicate with guys kind of shuffling out?
Not really, Mark. It shouldn't. I'm sure they will say it does, but I'm not buying that. The communication starts at a certain point, regardless of who's in there. One person is directing traffic. Now, there are times when guys that are with each other for a long time, they can almost communicate with a silent language, and they might say that matters, but some of the mistakes we made didn't really have anything to do with new guys being in there. We just weren't focused and doing our job.
How are you dividing reps between those 3 backup quarterbacks in practice?
Gosh. Well, Taylor gets 60%, and Spencer and Drew get somewhere probably 10 to 15%, and then Woodtey's getting around 10%. I know that math may not be 100, but it's close. So it's right around there somewhere. Woodtey knows the offense better than them, so he doesn't need quite the work with some of the schemes we had based on his experience.
Chu was named the Big 12 newcomer of the week. What was the recruiting process like him? How did he come on your guys' radar coming from Canada, and did you ever make a trip up there to recruit him as well?
I flew in there and visited with his coaches and all of his people in the school, and his family's right there in the community. We got on him early. Marcus Arroyo had some connections up there. So we got interested in him, and then he was interested in us more so than what I thought he would be for where he's located, because he's way out west. And then it just kind of started and it stuck, and then he said he wanted to come here, and I wasn't sure that it would happen in the end with the Oregons and Washingtons and UCLAs and people that are somewhat right there. But he stayed with us from day one, and we had a great relationship with his family. In fact, they were here last weekend. And I was pleased because they felt like that this was by far the best choice for him. And they were glad that he did redshirt last year. We could have played him last year, and so it's not always easy if a young man's eager to play, and then to tell him that you need to grow a little bit. So it's worked out really well for us, and I'm glad that he got as many opportunities as he did the other night.
Does it surprise you? You're one of the top 5 schools with your Canadians. You got 3.
I was unaware of that till you just told me that.
Yeah, you're one of the leaders in recruiting Canada.
Well, when we jumped on Chuba, it just kind of worked, and then obviously Ogbaw's cousin, and then we have Big Shane, right? I had actually forgot he was there because he'd lived so many different places, but they're working hard up there to try to improve their American-style football, for lack of a better term. I know they play a different way, but they're trying to get more young men pushed down this way.
What did you guys learn about when you had, say, Tyreek here, about getting someone with that speed and space? How is maybe that experience helping with how you guys are using Chuba?
Well, I think it's easy. Fast guys in space is a really good thing for offense or for a team. Mike and them understand the importance of trying to get the ball in the hands of players that can make big plays. There's only so many plays that are executed the right way in an offensive game. So if you have really skilled players and then you add that they're really fast, it gives you a better chance to be successful.
Mike, you've had a chance to look at film. Can you give us just some of the thoughts about the new defense and just how you see it developing?
I felt like that we were in position the majority of the time. Obviously, we got out of position on a quarterback power and a quarterback draw. But for the most part, I thought that we were in the right spot. This week's game will challenge us a little more on the perimeter with maybe more skilled athletes that can go get the ball. It'll be interesting to see how we play against those guys. I think the players bought in. I thought we tackled pretty well. Up front, we closed the gaps most of the time. It was a little bit like the offensive line. They were really good a lot, and then when they were bad for 2 big plays. And we've had some issues over the years with that. And so we need to try to minimize that the best we can. And there has to be a lot of focus and trust that everybody's going to be in their gap. And we'll continue to work at it. But I thought for the first game that it went really smooth. But as we all know, it's going to get better each week. This team is more athletic than the team we just played, so it'll be a better challenge.
You said Jim Knowles is pretty quiet. How did you handle, I guess, the debrief after? Does he come in, you talk, or do you slip in the defensive meeting room, or you just watch the tape yourself?
Are you talking about after the game?
Yeah, I mean, in the 24 to 48 hours afterwards, how do you address it with him?
He and I visited with about it. I asked him what he thought. I kind of have my opinion. I don't know all the X's and O's, but I can tell if it's good or bad. And so I wanted to ask him if I was in the ballpark of kind of where we were. And for the most part, I was. We agreed on certain things, and there were some younger players that got into the game that didn't play as well as what we would have liked them to. But that's fairly common when young people get out there for the first time. And he and I were on the same page there. I didn't go in and watch tape with him. I don't do that a lot for 2 reasons. One, I don't understand the ins and outs and schemes of defense enough to really go in there. There's probably a better chance that I could disrupt what they're doing more so than do anything to help them or compliment them. And that would take away time from me being in there and chewing on usage. And I really enjoy doing that.
What did you think of his performance as a coach in the first game he had with
Jim's? Well, I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Well, just in terms of how he managed the game as it was going on.
Oh, I got you. Seemed to be fine. They used a little more up-tempo than what we expected. They were playing faster than what we thought. They didn't play fast at all last year. So it was a good warm-up for Coach, knowing that as we progress through this year, it's going to get really fast. And I thought he handled it well. I think he's prepared for those situations. In my opinion, being a sound defensive coordinator in this league, you have to think really fast, you have to make really good adjustments, and you have to be able to get the information to the players on the field in less than 5 seconds so they can get lined up. And I thought he did pretty well. So we'll see how it goes Saturday.
You guys were able to get Jalen quite a few touches. Was that kind of by design, or was that just more Cornelius working through his reads?
Most of our offense is not really by design, based on how they play us. They played a lot of really high two-safety defense against us, which would allow us to throw the ball to our inside receivers quite a bit, not down the field as much as we'd like to. So if teams are going to play that way, there's two things that should happen if we execute. One, you're going to rush for a lot of yards, and two, your inside receivers become very active. And that's what happened in the game.
How important or have been the last few days for Taylor getting to actually watch film of himself in a real game?
That's a good question. I would say it could benefit him. After watching it and then seeing the tape, actually seeing what happened. Like most games, there's things that happen that I didn't see on the field that made me feel better after the game. I originally said he missed 7 throws. I think he missed 4. A couple of the others, there were some other issues involved. I have a strong tendency to always blame the quarterback. So I think once he sees what he did and then he's able to practice this week, what I would like for him to do is to go play and go play fearless. That's what our quarterbacks have done here in the past. And don't worry about making a mistake. There's times we're going to throw interceptions. I don't know what to tell you. We throw the ball a bunch. We throw it down the field. We take a lot of chances. It is what it is. And as I had said, he was 8-year-old kid pitch ball, and he was just trying to throw a strike instead of throwing the baseball. And I think that once he gets out of that phase, that he'll get back to where he was and what we've seen in practice. And I'm confident that he'll improve each week. But I did say this in July now. Everybody's going to have to be a little patient with him, including myself. I'm the first one to say to be patient, and then I'm the first one that's not patient. We've been spoiled here for a long time with fantastic offense and terrific quarterback play over the last 6 or 8 years. And so it's new to him. I guess it's the first game he started in, 4 years or 5 years? Almost 5. So it's a little different for him. And I'm going to guess that he'll feel a lot better. But we're going to let him go. He's going to go and he's going to play and he's going to make some mistakes, and then we're going to keep him in there and let him play. We think that he gives us the best chance to be successful.
2 things on Taylor. One, and again, I may be making a mistake on this, but it appeared he got through his progressions pretty good because he got down to some checkdowns to some running backs that honestly, I think the running backs may be happy because he has an eye for those guys, as you probably should.
Mentally, he was good. He missed 2 corner routes. He underthrew a deep ball that is rare for him, and then he missed a throw across the middle. But that didn't have anything to do with his approach mentally. That's why I'm encouraged, because he's in the right spot, and we just got to get him to where he'll cut it loose and go play.
He overthrew the freebies when he caught offsides. Talk me through that as a quarterback. Is there an adrenaline rush when you get a freebie? Or
Well, same thing he had on the interception. He had a guy that was that was essentially two guys that he could have thrown if he'd have thrown the ball good for a touchdown. He chose to throw it to the other team. And I had asked him when he came off if he knew that we were wearing orange and the other team was not. And he clearly stated he knew we were wearing orange. But I wasn't sure on that particular play. And I think he got a little excited when they were wide open. I mean, I do. I think he thought, this is cool. I've been waiting 5 years, and there's somebody that's wide open. And he got a little bit excited. And he's not been in that situation. You know, he's such a good young man. His demeanor's so first class, and his composure and everything. You know, he's just an old West Texas kid. And I think he got a little excited about the situation.
Is this an ideal situation with Justice where you can kind of save him for later in the Big 12 season, or would you rather him get more than 1 quarter of play?
Obviously, he's going to be playing throughout the games, but I would like to, if it's best case scenario, limit him to 15 touches, and that doesn't guarantee you any long-term stability. But I know I've said this, I'm repeating myself, but those guys take a lot of hits at that position, and so the more that we can protect him physically and really cardiovascularly, then it's going to be better for our team. And so it worked out really good for us. And the other guys played well. LD has shown that he's matured and looks like that he can handle a little bit more, put more on his plate. We'll see each week. We know what 27's given us. He looked shiftier than he did last year, and he still runs with a lot of power, and he's very intelligent and has good hands. And 30 is, got a chance to be a difference maker if he continues to improve and play within his system. When he plays within himself and doesn't get out of his box, he's pretty good.
Mike, I heard your answer this morning on the call about the backup quarterbacks. Is there something you're looking for in practice out of Drew and Spencer that tells you you're ready to put them on the field?
Well, first, Taylor has to get his work. And then second, as soon as those guys feel like that they can, or we feel like that they can grasp it at a high tempo. And, I had mentioned for several weeks that I was shocked that they could get as much information as they can and get it to the players. To play quarterback for us, you got to know everything going on. You got to be able to hand signal. You got to be able to verbally communicate. You got to be able to do it fast, and then you got to get on your reads and progression and whatever it is that you've been coached to do. So it just doesn't happen that fast. And both guys are doing fantastic, but we would prefer to not put them in until we think they can handle it. You remember when Mason played, it was game, I think, 11. When he played. I didn't think he was ready when he played then. But he sure wasn't ready in game 4 or 5. So it just takes those guys some time.
Any thoughts on NFL guys? Because I didn't know Crabtree tore his knee up, but he's on IR. But guys like Lundblade, Lacey, Aitman all got on practice teams, and Mason.
Some of it was surprising to me with what happened, but obviously I don't know anything about that business, never been in it. We've got more players now than ever that are on active rosters, practice rosters, active injured reserve, whatever you want to call it. So that means that we're doing a better job of bringing young men in here that can potentially develop to play at that level or practice at that level, which means they're going to be really good college players. And it's exciting for them. They're all first-class guys, and I think some of them that are on practice teams will get picked up. So hopefully it'll work out well for them.
Larry Williams was almost one of those guys, just had a strange offseason. How has this extra chance for him, from what you've seen, kind of motivated him this year?
Larry's done well once he got here. He missed quite a bit of July. He had to be back home with his family, and when he came back, he was a little bit out of shape, in my opinion. But he's gifted, and he's got a great body for a man his size, and so it was easy for him to get back in shape. I think Larry is committed, and I think he's working hard. And if he continues to, he can make some money playing this game. There's just not very many people that are as strong and powerful as a guy like that is. And so hopefully it'll benefit our team, and down the line in the future it'll benefit Larry.
Back to the NFL guys, were you surprised to see Dallas cut Dan Bailey?
Well, I will have to say that shocked me, but again, I don't know the business. I would say he'll get picked up, and I'm unsure exactly why it would happen, but I guess they obviously have their reasons.
Mike, I think AJ and Rodarius played almost every snap first 3 quarters until you guys really started subbing. Are you still concerned about finding a third and fourth corner that you put out there?
We're further along than we were last year at this time. And I think that we're going to get McAllister back pretty soon, and he'll get into that mix. We liked where he was before he had a little thumb injury. And so, he might be back this week. I'm not sure. I hadn't talked to the doctors today. So I'm always concerned in this league that if you don't have 4 corners that can play, it's difficult to slow down the other team. But I know that we're further along now than we were at this time last year.
Mike, even with some guys that couldn't play, like a McAllister that set out, he played 81 guys. Mm-hmm. I'm having a hard time. I talked to Gavin.
It was awesome.
That's a huge number, isn't it? Is that
it was really good. We Cashmore and MK, who work with our special teams, put together essentially a walk-on kickoff group and a punt return and stuff, that in case we got in that position, usually you're running around screaming on the sideline trying to get guys out there, and we had that scheduled before the game, so we were able to get all those guys in and then even sub for them and get a number of guys that whether they were just young or walk-ons in our program that got out there and got 3, 5, 7, 11 plays. And so that was pretty cool.
Mike, talk about preparing for a team like you have with a stable of running backs and with the speed that they have. That's got to begin to present some serious problems to your opponents.
They've done a good job, they meaning our offensive staff, of working those guys in practice. Hill probably gets the least amount of work. He understands the system. He gets it. He's been there. So 27 gets the most would be my guess, and then 30 and 7 get the rest of it. So we're getting quality reps there, and we're fortunate that Hill is mature and intelligent, and he's been there, so we can save his body a little bit and give the other guys some mental reps. So hopefully we just keep them fresh and let them go. Our plan is to get 30 or 7 in there at the end of the third quarter or all the fourth quarter, and they're fresh and the defense is tired, and let them run.
You go into a little bit more depth about what started you off about Malik Givens and what he did this year?
Well, he's kind of an example of our Cowboy culture, things that make us proud around here. He's a young man that's doing it for free. He's not entitled to anything at all. Doesn't feel like that we owe him anything. There's so many athletes and coaches at our level that just feel like everybody should give them something because of what they do or who they are. So we have so many young men. Like, we have 135 guys on our team. Only 83 of them are on scholarship. So you see the large number of young men that say, I want to play because I love the game, and he falls in that category. During the week on scout team, when the scout team kickoff was out there going against our one kickoff return, and when the scout team punt was out there going against our one punt return, he was on both scout teams, and we couldn't block him the whole week. We never blocked him, and so I was watching the tape with the special teams during the week, and I said, we don't have anybody that can block him. And it was just ironic, and I said, we should have him starting for us. And we just went on down the road, and then he got in the game and did what he did, and so after that we made him a starter. So he'll be starting for us, at least on punt and maybe on kickoff.
Did he actually join the team from Oklahoman?
I can't remember if it was what month it was, because he transferred in. And I want to say he came in the spring. But don't hold me to that, because Rod Johnson is the master of disaster when it comes to that. And I'm not smart enough to figure out all those rules. And so when he actually became active, I'm not sure. But he showed up really quick in August. And there's something to be said for young men that are willing to do that and get other people's attention, and that's what he did.
You guys' walk-on program's been pretty successful. Obviously, Cornelius and Landon Wolf. What do you kind of think makes it that way?
Well, we take care of them. There's not a better place a walk-on can go anywhere in the country than here. And you can just ask the walk-ons on the team. They're treated with class. Every single thing we can give them, we give them. We maximize that. But more important than anything, they're treated with respect. We treat Malik Givens the same way we treat Justice Hill. And so it's equal across the board. And they know if they come in here and they do a good job, they're going to get to play. And if they can get in the two deep and be a contributor, there's a really, really good chance they're going to be put on scholarship. Even out to a week ago when we put Wolf on scholarship. So we think as a staff, if you treat people with respect, you take good care of them, and you make sure they know they're important to the program, which they are, why not walk on here? It's a good place to be. There's probably a lot of places in the country where some coaches don't know any of those guys. But here, we try to do the best we can. I challenge myself to try to learn all their names, and it's hard. When you have 135 people, it's hard to do that. But I try to catch a face and do it myself, and I'm not perfect at it, but at least they know that they're important to the program.
What did you think about the atmosphere on Thursday with the crowd in there, with the video board? What do you think about the whole experience Thursday night?
When did they turn the video board on? Right, I thought it didn't work when we came out to warm up. And then I realized when you guys cranked it on, then I heard it, and then I figured that Holder was just saving money. So I don't know if he's going to – Kevin might know. I don't know. Is he going to turn it on pregame, or is he just going to keep it off? Oh, I thought at first I thought this is great. It's not working. This will be a big blow up. Or the bug races, that'd be awesome, the bug races on there. But then I figured he was just saving money. I thought it was fantastic. I called Mr. Pickens on Friday morning. I was sitting outside drinking coffee, and I called him, and I didn't get him, and I left a voicemail. And so he called me back, and we visited for, 10, 12, 15 minutes yesterday. And that was the one reason that I called him, was to tell him that, I knew he couldn't come, but I wish he could have been here to see the stadium and just the proximity of it and the crowd and the sound and now the video board. I mean, it's just really the final touch. I mean, it's a heck of a place to play a game, and just the journey that we've had for 15 years to get to this point has been pretty amazing. So it was enough of a wow to me to say, hey, I need to call and make sure he knows, since he couldn't be here, that it's a pretty special deal.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and Gary and Claudia obviously played a huge role in that, but it's pretty cool.
What are your thoughts on the statement that Boone Pickens made before the game, saying he was in it to win the national championship? And all that?
I think it's awesome. We're in the same boat. The better one was that he's not buying any green bananas, because I don't like to buy green bananas myself. You can buy them when they're ripe, and then if they start to get a little brown, they're still good, and what else can you do with them? Then what do you do with them?
Banana bread.
You make banana bread or banana pudding. So I'm with him on that. But I thought he put out a great statement, and I thought it was pretty cool for everybody. Kind of his State of the Union, that's tradition for him, and hopefully we'll be doing that for 10 more years.
This is a dangerous question, but you went to school here, and you've been here a long time, and unfortunately, so have I. I looked up in the stands in the fourth quarter when there wasn't as much going on, and saw a few people still up there with clear plastic cups, and seemed to not over-enjoying, seemed to be enjoying themselves. But I got to admit, it was weird to look up there and see the clear cups and
Right.
beer in them.
I didn't get that far to do that. It did cross my mind at one time, and I wondered how things were going, but I didn't get up there. You know, the game got out of hand, and everybody kind of rolled out and hit it. Probably went to the Strip on Thursday night, and you see that. I got to watch a little more football than normal, and I would see some of the stands. There were some, they were pretty empty a lot of times with the games, but that's kind of the way it goes in those situations. But didn't hear of anything happening, so obviously it must have went really well.
Do you think Steiner's progressing enough to where he potentially?
I don't think he'll punt this week. I think he'll be in activities. I think that I did have the conversation about him yesterday. I think that he will be a lot more active in doing certain things, but I don't know if he'll punt. Now, don't hold me to that. So I'm not for sure, but I'm sure he'll probably let you know before me on his whatever it is he communicates with. But I did not think after yesterday that he would be ready to punt Saturday.
How much do you like seeing the kickoffs? That's been something that you guys had issues with, just getting the ball into the end zone. And I think it was 9 out of 10 were touchbacks Thursday night.
He was really good at that. He bladed one, and it was returnable, and then he missed a squib. We were squibbing that one at the start of the half, and he hit the top of the ball. That wasn't the plan. But other than that, I thought he was pretty dang good for his first game.
What did you think of the, attempted distraction when the Missouri State kicker was lined up for a field goal on the video board? Did you see that at all?
What happened?
The video board had zoomed in close up on Pistol Pete's face behind the goalpost.
Oh, when they were kicking? Yeah, like holding up posters of chicks and stuff behind the basketball goal and all that? Yeah. I didn't see it.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not see that. That's a good thought.
If you're afraid of mannequins or ventriloquist dolls and stuff, that would freak you out.
Yeah.
Because it's like a stutter zoom. Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good. I didn't think of that. So, good stuff. All right, guys. Glad y'all are working on Labor Day.